Let go and let God is one of those phrases that could be really helpful for some people and really unhelpful for other people. Throughout this whole series of Oh, the Things We Say, I want to highlight the way that a phrase, Christianese type of saying, or even a scripture, a verse, can have meaning attached to it, either for the speaker or the receiver, in a way that becomes unhelpful, keeps us stuck. Like we're not actually going to be moving forward based on what they say. Somebody says something that seems to be helpful, but it's not. It actually keeps them stuck. Or it keeps a person hiding their true selves, hiding what they really need, and therefore missing out on things that God has for us. Or hurting. It can add hurt to the person's experience. It can make it even more challenging. So I want you to keep in mind as I'm sharing these phrases that sometimes the same phrase, the same verse can be really helpful for somebody else. And it has to do with the meaning applied to it. And a lot of it is also dependent on experiences that we've had, because those experiences filter the way that we see the world. I'm not going to get into that too in depth right now. But what I want to point out about this particular phrase, let go and let God, is that it could be helpful for some people, perhaps as a mantra. Sometimes we will have specific phrases that help remind us that, let me give an example of how let go, let God, for example, might be used as a mantra. I think of mantras as something that can be anchoring, orienting, and grounding for us in confusing and challenging situations. So when our brain is kind of in this like frenzied mode and we're not really sure what to do, sometimes we might use a mantra or some kind of a phrase that anchors us back to truths that we need to remember, to experiences that are more positive, and it can help shift things in our brain so that we can respond the way that we want to. For example, in this phrase, let go, let God, maybe that helps somebody who has been through a recovery process and they have in mind the serenity prayer that I can't be in control of everything. And so that means that if I let go, I realize I'm not in control. I can release this. I can trust that God is with me, that he has a bigger view of this whole situation than I have. I can let go of my need to fix it all. I can realize that my anxiety is really high and remind myself that it doesn't have to be that high. I can release some of that. And so for that person, this phrase, let go, let God, might be really helpful because it anchors them, it grounds them, it helps provide clarity. However, there are also many times when the phrase is either unhelpful or something that even exacerbates pain for another person. What could that look like? Let's say somebody is sitting with you and they start sharing the truth of their reality. So it's the truth of the things that they are experiencing. They've just had some really hard news from a doctor, or something is happening with one of their children, or the relationship that they're in is gotten really sideways and they don't know what to do, and they're hurting. Old feelings of abandonment and betrayal are coming up. Who knows? Like, whatever it is, it's stuff is coming out. And in that, the what's coming out, like the thoughts and the feelings and emotions that are being shared, you as the receiver start to notice, like, or you start to kind of think in your mind maybe that person has some bitterness and they're resentful. They're just holding on to all of this. They can't let go of it. When somebody's experienced something really traumatizing or incredibly stressful, it is overwhelming to a body system. And sometimes simply that sharing provides an opportunity for them to process through the intense emotion and thoughts. When someone's been through trauma, they are, it's very challenging for the brain to completely process that. Sometimes we need added help, which is where EMDR comes in as therapy models. For the person who's listening to say, you just need to let go and let God, is incredibly dismissive, invalidating of the other person. For them, they've started to be vulnerable. Maybe they were really afraid to share what they needed to share. Maybe they were concerned that they'd be rejected, abandoned. They may not even know it, but their brain is saying it's not safe, it's not okay. And then they can't hold it in any longer and they share it. And then somebody says, you're just holding on to bitterness and resentment. You need to let go and let God. What does that even mean? For that person, then they feel that abandonment, the rejection, betrayal. If they've had that in the past, they have a fear. Now it's just been validated that they're not worth being heard, not worth being seen, that they must be wrong and bad because somehow they're not doing the right thing to let go of the bitterness, let go of the resentment. The reality is they need care, comfort, validation of their experience, containment for their big emotions. They have needs that the other person can provide. And even when you don't know what to provide for them or what to say, not saying, let go and let God, and simply saying, I hear you, or tell me more. That sounds really hard, can make a world of difference. So let go and let God usually has some kind of ulterior meaning and motive behind it. And maybe it's our way of telling somebody else, like it's a quick fix because we're dealing with something that is disruptive inside of us. It doesn't feel comfortable when somebody else doesn't feel good. No one wants to feel that. And it's not easy to allow space for us to simply experience that, that discomfort and experience maybe some of the feelings that the other person is feeling, sitting with them in that. In a recent social media post that I did, this kind of concept that I was writing about called witness. We have Emmanuel, who's God with us. And yet we miss experiencing God with us when others cannot be with us. We miss offering the gift of God with another person when we can't allow ourselves to be with that person. And so I hope that it's helpful to reflect on some of these phrases, like let go and let God. If you're the person who said that, to step back and reflect, why do I say that? Is there something going on with me? Am I feeling uncomfortable and anxious? And if I don't think I am, is it possible that it could be there and I'm not aware of it? Lord, reveal in me why I would say something that really missed the mark with somebody. Think about times when maybe you've said that, or times that you've received those words and it wasn't helpful. Consider why it wasn't helpful. What was it that you actually needed? Maybe you needed someone to just hear your story and to validate that, yeah, that sounds really challenging, confusing. I'd feel sad too. I can understand why you'd feel angry. That's enough. Doesn't feel like much, but that's enough. This prescriptive phrase, you just need to let go and let God, often doesn't mean anything to the person that's hearing it from you. And it can be really dismissive and validating, which exacerbates that pain. So like I said, if it's anchoring and grounding for you, great. Hear the difference between the meaning and the motivation around let go and let God for someone who uses that in a way that says, oh, okay, I'm able to release this intenseness that I feel to manage the situation. I actually can't fix it. I'm choosing to accept that. There's like a whole process that's going on internally, sometimes very, very fast, rapid steps all together. But for other people, that let go and let God is absent witness. And we want to be with other people so they can experience the witness of God. Thank you for joining me today. And I would love to hear if you've either used this phrase and it's been helpful or damaging for another person, potentially, maybe painful for them. Maybe you go back and let them know, hey, I think I said this and it might have caused you more pain or it might have been frustrating for you. I want to apologize. I want to learn to be a better listener. I want to learn to be with you in that. That would be fantastic. If you've received those words and it's been painful, I'm so sorry. I know that a lot of us really struggle with knowing how to be with other people. And I pray that you find those who will be with you so that you can experience the witness of God. Take care.